All right, we are rolling officially. All right, guys. I'm Jack. This is T. This is the Milk Route, new football podcast inspired by our love of the Seahawks and Patriots, respectively. Obviously, we've got a Super Bowl coming up.
Yes, we do.
This was the Super Bowl that was destined, the one that was promised to us. But before
An unlikely promise, but
true, literally the least likely Super Bowl ever. But before we can talk about the future, we got to talk about the past. Yes, Seattle lost Super Bowl 49 in one of the stupidest plays of all time.
amen.
Russell Wilson needed the glory. Pete Carroll's an idiot. One of those two things had to be true. The correct play was handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Well, we didn't. The good news is Seattle has a week away now from an opportunity to redeem all of that and make the Patriots look really bad and or double down on losing to the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
A matchup 11 years in the making.
Now, why we're here? Why milk? Why is it the milk route? Well, this all started with some completely insane gambling behavior. And I saw a stat in the offseason that mentioned that every single time a new pope ascended within the Catholic Church, there would be the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. That has happened now 3 times since Seattle moved to the AFC in 2002. The NFC. That being said, I was very confident, and it appeared Seattle's schedule looked doable, that we could at least make the playoffs and make some noise. So I wrote it with a modest wager that ended up obviously cashing, and had a whole bunch of cockiness about it in talking with my friend T here.
I think looking at the schedule, I at least penned 10 wins for the Pat's schedule, and gotta be honest, did not think much of your team and what was done in the offseason. And Sam, I'm seeing Ghost Darnold wasn't exactly the acquisition that screamed to me saying, Super Bowl contenders here. Hand up, that's on me. I think I've eaten enough crow since that day, but the wager ended up being if the Pats have more wins than the Seahawks in the regular season, then from there, I believe it was you give me $50.
Yep, it was a $50 bet. Long story short, Tristan wanted me to put my money where my mouth was when it came to Seattle having a better record than New England this season in the regular season. I wanted to continue a tradition of Tristan having to drink a gallon of milk for losing a bet. He has lost one milk bet before, and this will hopefully be the second.
I hope you're watching, Killian.
Now,
I can still taste the calcium.
that being said, roughly somewhere in the week 8 to 11 timeframe, I don't remember exactly when, we kind of both realized that both teams were going to make some noise. At least make the playoffs, hopefully make an entertaining run of it. And it turns out, let's double it. Screw it. Why not? And so I brought to Tristan, let's double down, $100 bet if the Patriots make it further in the playoffs than the Seahawks. And if the Seahawks make it further, then he has to go, instead of drinking a gallon of milk, run a milk mile, which for those of you who are not familiar, that's run a quarter mile after drinking a quarter gallon of milk, repeating that 4 times.
Half a mile for me can be a challenge, so add some dairy products to that equation, and it may not be pretty.
So we have had this baked into our NFL season all year long. And let's just say the trash talk has been pretty significant, to say the least. Healthy. I literally bought Texans decals to slap on the gallon of milk.
Where are those now?
They are currently in my cabinet, but they should be in the trash.
As is CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud is a bum. With that being said, I think we properly introduced our backstory here. Let's talk about how the season went.
Pretty fair from my end. I mean, I think the fact that I'm sitting here discussing a Super Bowl 49 rematch, I think having been posed that in the preseason, I would have said, yeah, you're out to lunch. But here we are. I think the Pats made the right offseason moves, which I'll get into after your season recap. But I think I speak for Pats fans.
Let's start there. What got the Patriots to the Super Bowl this year?
I'd say
in the offseason, what'd they do?
Well, for starters, we had a laundry list of needs, a lot of which included offensive line and just weapons in general. And thankfully, new head coach Mike Vrabel, former, not one, not two, but 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Pats, was tasked leading the helm after the firestorm that Gerard Mayo led. With that, they were able to bring in, on the left side, Will Campbell, LSU tackle, go Tigers. And also
Go Tigers.
center, from Georgia turned left guard, Jared Wilson, who, I don't know if you remember this, I was screaming very happily when they drafted him in the 3rd round in the middle of your bachelor party. I had pinned him down as one of my guys I wanted, and we got him. But I thought of him as a center. I still think that's where he is long term.
Unsurprisingly, I have no recollection of that.
Not shocking. But in addition, they splashed some big money on getting Milton Williams, former Super Bowl champion, at the nose tackle position from the Eagles.
Arguably the best player on the team.
So a lot of pundits gave that an F rating in the offseason, saying you already had Barmore. Why are you going to get Milton Williams? I mean, he's already shown that.
The Patriots, and we'll get into it, with and without Milton Williams, two very different football
Oh, yeah, especially middle of the season run game wise. Then you get a Stephon Diggs. I was not a fan of the signing. I thought, quite frankly, a 32-year-old receiver coming off an ACL tear and historically being not a great locker room presence, did not think is what we wanted as a team. I was more so thinking to go get like an Amari Cooper, who didn't even play a snap this year. So
he retired before the season.
Started.
I drafted him in fantasy.
I've been noted to not have good receiver takes, being a former N'Keal Harry believer too. So I'll put that out there. But
he was drafted before DK Metcalf
and AJ Brown. But Stephon, if you're watching, you've completely revitalized the receiving corps, and I didn't believe you, and you've made a believer out of me. But on top of that, they've added other key pieces like Matt Collins, another receiver, great run blocking receiver too, edge rusher Harold Landry, Carlton Davis to form out that secondary, and then Morgan Moses, that right tackle, very underrated position in football. Obviously, blindside gets all the glory, but really a good run game starts with the right side of the line too. So those were our big additions, a lot of them from free agency, but then also can't forget like a Travion Henderson, Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, Andy Borakalis kicking field goals for us now. Started kind of shaky, but I think he's in a spot where I can trust him. Kyle Williams being a fast threat on the receiving end, and then Craig Woodson, safety. High-key might be one of the best defensive rookies we've drafted in some time. So, but it took a lot of cap going after, a lot of draft picks to finally nail. It feels like it's one of the last draft classes in recent memory I can remember where we actually nailed on almost all of our picks, which if you look back at the last 6 or 7 draft classes, it's you like that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. So moving on. Seattle.
Great drafting.
Seattle had a great offseason. The likes of which, and I remember saying this in the offseason, and I believe I said it to you, is that Mike McDonald got John Schneider's job by the proverbial balls. John Schneider was with the last regime. He did well. The team was stacked, and then the team fizzled out, and it really hasn't been what it used to be in that Legion of Boom era. And the biggest issue, more than anything else, was the offensive line. And I remember just beating on my chest for 10 years in a row, ever since we traded Max Unger for Jimmy Graham, that Seattle literally could... The reality was a wet paper bag was more useful as an offensive line than Seattle's offensive line.
I miss Jimmy Graham.
So going in the first round and drafting Gray Zabel has been nothing short of an excellent, excellent pick. Is he the best guard in the league? Absolutely not. But is he going to develop into a perennial starter who we can trust to run our run first? I'm losing the word here.
Like a scheme.
Run first scheme, as well as to work play action. That was the term I was going for. To work play action to open up guys like JSN, AJ Bonner, and Cooper Kupp. Additionally, we drafted probably the best player in the draft this year. His name's Nick Immanwori. If you don't know him, you probably should, because he's going to be all over your screen come Sunday.
DROY candidate too?
He is a candidate. He likely won't win because he missed too many games.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think he missed 4 games, if I'm correct.
It's not a terrible amount for a rookie.
But he should be the defensive rookie of the year, and I think the only reason that might hold him back in reality is the missed games.
I will say this man has also pinned him as the next Ed Reed, and hesitant at giving them that moniker at first, but after watching some clips,
he's obviously he's got years to prove it.
It's not as far-fetched as it seems.
He's got years to prove it, but the tape doesn't lie so far.
A ring really helps, too.
So, I mean, that's just what they hit on in the draft. What I like to talk about in the offseason for Seattle is additions by subtraction. We refuse to pay Geno Smith the money that he absolutely did not deserve. He was absolutely the best quarterback at throwing the worst possible interception in crunch time and making boneheaded plays when we didn't need them.
Who signed him?
The worst team in the NFL, the team picking first in the NFL draft.
Oh. Who's their new head coach?
Not Pete Carroll anymore.
Oh.
Potentially the Seahawks offensive coordinator.
The
Raiders are trying desperately to become the Seattle Seahawks. That being said, the second addition by subtraction is DK Metcalf. Now, I'm not going to deny DK's talent. Great player, great receiver, physical guy, hustle guy.
Absolute physical specimen.
But the problem is that the amount of non-play penalties, dead ball penalties that he would get routinely killing drives for Seattle ever since he's been drafted. If he's not the highest in league, I would honestly be very surprised because it seems like whenever Seattle had any momentum these last several seasons, DK was there to get a penalty to kill a drive.
I mean, it's proof of the pudding with that Steelers game against the Lions.
Yep.
They could have used him in those final 2 games during the stretch.
Exactly. Now, the 2 guys that replaced him, Cooper Kupp, who has been nothing short of a stud blocking in the run game, as well as getting a lot of timely catches, and he's catching them from the highest winning quarterback in the NFL the last 2 seasons. That's a fact. Sam Darnold wins football games.
28 and 2, not counting
28
playoffs.
Regular season games, 30 games in 2 seasons, no other quarterbacks close.
If you had posed that stat to me 3 years ago, who would be the most winning regular season games quarterback? He would have not been in the top 30. Maybe even
the
40.
top 30. You know, there could have been an argument before he started in Minnesota that he wouldn't have even been in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
And the reality is the Jets damn near killed his career.
The Jets and, mind you, the Panthers, those are 2 quarterback hellholes. I don't know how Bryce Young is surviving that, but I mean, it's tarnished the careers of several. So,
well, we're gonna see. That's really, I do have to kind of give John Schneider a little bit of a bone here. He has done exceptionally well in the draft over the last several years. Made a great move in trading Russell Wilson. That's turned into nothing but gold. All the picks, I believe, are active starters on this Super Bowl roster. I would have to pull up the trade to quote him exactly. And he's done really well in the draft, but we've neglected the offensive line until this year, and it's clearly much better. The running game has really opened up JSN to basically just be an absolute menace. I think obvious top 2 candidate for Offensive Player of the Year.
who wins it?
If not number 1. But with that being said, let's move on to the actual regular season. All right?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to talk about the Patriots season?
I'll keep it short and simple, I think. Like I mentioned earlier, I think our win total to start the year was 8.5. Looking back, obviously coming off 2 back-to-back 4-win seasons, it's hard to then say, oh yeah, we're going to double that immediately. But I felt pretty confident that 9 wins, 10 wins was something I could see the team reaching. I cannot sit here in good faith and say, oh yeah, I could see 14 wins in the regular season and then going 3 straight to the Super Bowl to be 17-3 as we sit here today. That was not what I had going down. And in fact, that first game against the Raiders dropping, I thought, okay, great, here we go again. We might have a quarterback question in play if Drake May fizzles out. Maybe hiring another Pats linebacker to be a coach isn't the model you need. They drop that. They go down and win in Miami to bring it back 1-1. That's when, after that Antonio Gibson, I believe it was, that kickoff return touchdown to really seal the deal, I thought to myself, all right, the team can win in Miami. Maybe they can make it interesting this year. And then week 3 with, I think it was either 3 or 4 fumbles from Ramondre Stevenson. I won't repeat the monikers I gave him off camera, resembling...
Ramondre Fumbleson was the going name.
Fumbleson, I think
that's a PG version.
Yeah, that was the PG version. I wanted him off the bus, off the plane completely, and off the roster. I would then go to see him many weeks later as the redeeming hero. We'll get into that game at some point.
Yep.
They drop into the Steelers 1-2. Since week 3, they've progressed to 16-1. Since week 3, sitting at a Super Bowl appearance, 12th in franchise's history, and 9-0 on the road. First team to do that. Kraft also has now his 3rd quarterback coach combo to make the Super Bowl, joining Parcells and Bledsoe back in '96.
Good thing they're the home team in the Super Bowl.
Yes, they are. Well, that alternates. You know it does. And then Brady and Belichick, 9 times? And then now, here we are.
Which sideline are Brady and Belichick going to be on?
Well, I thought Bill was going to be at the game, but now that he's not in the Hall of Fame, I don't know if he's even going to be setting foot in San Fran.
Yep.
Him or Jordan, as their name is pronounced, I guess. But
I didn't know that.
Fact of the matter is, Pats ended the season with the second most points for, with 28.8. And on top of that...
they were third.
Third, second, top 5.
Oh, no. I'm mistaken. You are correct. They were
28.8
Sorry, I was
points
looking at
per
those
game.
stats earlier.
18.8 points against for another top 5 defense, which is something that is synonymous with a Pats team that makes the Super Bowl, with the exception of, I think, what years were not great?
2007.
I don't know, 7 had a pretty good defense, too. Oh, well, you just wanted to say
2011.
2017. Yeah, 17. Well, yeah, 17's with the 41 points with Matt freaking things Patricia.
With Mr. Nick Foles running 41 points up on you.
This is a Seahawks-Pats Super Bowl. This ain't a Pats-Eagles Super Bowl, which we did win one of them. But on top of that, it emerged Drake May.
Drake, the schedule.
Shout out Drake May lover. The schedule doesn't also make long bomb throws, too. But I also didn't see Drake May then throwing 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, almost 4,400 yards, and leading the league in completion percentage and quarterback rating. I thought this team...
Can you adjust those stats? And I don't actually expect you to do this, but can you adjust them when you don't include games against the Jets without a real starting quarterback, the Dolphins without a real starting quarterback, and the New York Football Giants?
Let's
just say the numbers don't look as good.
Not on the fly, Bob. No. That being said, the big narrative, and I know obviously we have a whole section covering on the storylines going into the game, but obviously the big narrative of the year was the Pats schedule, which, yes, the Pats did go 2-2 against playoff teams. I don't have the number on the amount of teams they beat over 500, but I like to look strictly at playoff teams. Conversely, to this man's Seahawks,
they've only beat one team with an over 500 record.
And 2-2 for playoff teams. This man's Seahawks went 6-2 in the playoffs, so obviously, yes, harder path in the regular season. I'd contend on the defensive side, they did face 3 top 6 defenses, and then arguably going against the best defense in the league. DVOA-wise, that is metrically correct. So they've had a hard road. The schedule is what the schedule is. You play the team in front of you. That's that. There's only so much you can control. And obviously them being a last place team last year gives them an easier road for the 3 games that they do have to play that alternate. And they took advantage of that. Could they have lost some of the close games? Yes. Could they have choked it away? Like obviously the missed extra point against Atlanta could have totally gone askew. That's one thing. But they found a way to squeak out wins, which is what good teams do late in the season. They find ways to win, and I think, and we'll get into it later, I think that'll be a theme of Super Bowl 60, or excuse me, Big Game 60. I think technically the NFL is not privy to people saying the big SB word, but Roger?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is the first time I'm hearing
Oh, yeah,
this.
we can't say SB word. I don't believe so. We'll have to bleep this out, which will sound even better.
That's ridiculous.
But that's fine. With that being said, this team claws and finds its way to win, and I think we'll see that come Sunday.
Okay, so question. You said that New England's played 3 top 5 defenses in the regular season.
So three in the playoffs. Sorry.
Okay, so I want to make something clear because I have seen Patriots fans do this over and over and over and over again, and media sites have regurgitated it in favor of the Patriots. Defensive yards allowed has never been the standard.
Been a metric
that has measured the best defenses in the league.
You would consider.
However, these metrics to make Houston, Denver, and the Chargers 3 of the top 5 defenses, it is only by yards per game. By points per game, they are 2nd, 3rd, and 9th, respectively.
That's not
which
bad.
is not. It's not bad. Obviously,
3 top 10 defenses.
It's 3 top 10 defenses, but it is nonetheless misleading. It also has Houston at number 1 in the yards per game, and Seattle is the true number 1 in points per game.
DVOA is one I do hold true to heart, and Seattle was, from what I could see, ranked 1 in that respective. So they would
by quite some margin.
They would be the number 1 defense they play. It is refreshing, though, to see the media start to twist the schedule in a way to make it look harder for the Patriots. It's what it's been.
Robert Griffin III did an excellent job of saying Drake May had the hardest path to the Super Bowl ever.
Which is staunchly different than his Heisman-winning counterpart from the... No, is Baylor in the SEC? No, Baylor's not in the SEC. Auburn is. Baylor is Big
I couldn't
10.
tell you off the top of my head.
It's an NFL podcast, not college football. But that being said, yeah, Cam Newton also, if you're watching this, lay off Drake, buddy.
All right, let's talk about Seattle's season.
Please.
Long story short, if you watched popular media project Seattle's season, the vast majority of people had them either 3rd in the division or dead last in the division. There were some people who thought the Cardinals would be head and shoulders above the Seattle Seahawks. I heard terms like uninspired football, kind of a old strategy that doesn't really work, run first, defense second, pass third type play. And I looked it up today. NFL.com had Seattle on average to win 8.3 games, with a floor of 7.5 wins and a ceiling of 11.5 wins.
What did you guys have the year before?
We went 10-7 and missed the playoffs due to tiebreakers. Los Angeles also finished 10-7 and got in on that tiebreak. Even though we won the last game of the season against Los Angeles to move to 10-7, but they obviously didn't play their starters.
I'm mad I didn't catch any of that OT game. Like that. That's on me.
Now, the Patriots, just to kind of juxtapose this here.
That's an SAT word.
NFL.com in the same article had them listed at 8.8 wins for the season with a floor of 6.8 and a ceiling of 10.4. So a little bit lower ceiling, a little bit lower floor, but overall projected to win more games. Now, that being said, Seattle has a margin of victory throughout the regular season that it was 1st in the NFL. New England was 3rd in that metric. I was
going to say, we might have been right around the same.
Seattle plus 191, New England plus 170. Seattle lost by 4 points at home in week 1 of the season due to a really poor defensive play by Tariq Woolen on one of the last plays of the game. Notable inactives for that game were Nick Imanwari and Nwosu. Honestly, we gave up 17 points at home and lost. Inexcusable by the offense. The rest of the season, there was a lot of BTA behavior, with exception of...
For those at home, that means belt to rear.
With the exception of 2 games. Against Tampa Bay in week 5, or against Tampa Bay at home in week 5, we lost by 3 points, 38-35. On paper, that sounds inexcusable. But if you think we didn't have Lawrence, Love, Witherspoon, who didn't even suit up, and Hall and Woolen were both injured during the game, our secondary was hobbled at best, and borderline completely broken at worst. And it's not surprising that a NFL quarterback like Baker Mayfield tore us up. That being said, our only other loss occurred during week 8, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm incorrect. Week 11.
I can't read.
Which is Sam Darnold's worst game of the year. Threw 4 picks, obviously. But despite throwing 4 picks, we lost by 2 points on the road on a Thursday night game in which Matt Stafford threw 130 yards passing.
Night game.
It took a punt inside the 1 yard line on our last possession, and we still had an opportunity to win the game with a field goal attempt as time expired. Fortunately, obviously, we missed, lost by 2. That being said, we beat the Rams far more convincingly since, especially in that NFC Championship game. That game nearly got out of control. I think that Tariq Woolen penalty is the only thing that really kept it close. That being said, there were some teams that we beat that honestly should have, at least on paper, look like closer games than they actually were. For example, Arizona, we led 20-6 in the fourth quarter, ended up a 3-point game. Jacksonville, we led by 2 scores until very late. Houston, we led by 15 points until very late. Tennessee, we led by 14 going into the fourth quarter. Ended up a 6-point game. The one game that we truly, I think, played that almost got away from us was that Indianapolis game with the return of Phillip Rivers. 6 field goals.
Like, why would you do that to your body, man? He has what, 25 children?
It's not 25, but
Yeah, I
it's
know.
more than 10. So
Nothing wrong with having that many kids, but you're that age. Don't go back out in the field risking permanent brain damage. I'm sorry.
I guess the tail of the tape here with Seattle's regular season is that they've withstood a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, still been the number 1 defense. They're as healthy as they've been all year in the playoffs, and they've really, really put the belt to a lot of teams, and they had the number 1 margin of victory despite taking a lot of fourth quarters off.
What was your favorite Seahawks game of the regular season?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I kind of got to look at this list to think about it.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I've got my Patriots' favorite game. A long and cold, windy night in Baltimore, Maryland, watching the Pats come back and win from behind, which I think you were in attendance for that, were you not?
I made the trip down to Baltimore with the boys.
Yeah. What were you wearing in that game?
I was wearing a Mac Jones jersey, a respectable NFC West quarterback. Only this jersey happened to be blue and red and not blue and yellow.
Yes. And a Patriots Lucha Libre mask, which that looked warm.
It honestly, it did make my face warmer.
Yes.
It was cold enough where it was worth it.
That was from my brother-in-law. I got it from Mexico City.
Through my eyes, the Patriots almost lost that game if John Harbaugh hadn't blundered the way he did not give the ball to Derrick Henry. And that was a Lamar Jackson-less. At least for the entire second half.
Yeah.
Ravens.
Snoop Huntley, and then Mondre Stevenson redeeming himself from early fumbleitis early in the year to breaking off that game-winning touchdown. That was a hell of a game.
I've definitely decided. So the funniest game that I watched this year, not my favorite, but the funniest game I watched this year was Seattle's game against Minnesota. 26-0 for those of you who didn't watch. You didn't miss a lot. It was just funny. I can't remember.
Was that at a J.J. McCarthy game or no?
No, it wasn't. It was Max Brosmer's first NFL start.
Shout out UNH. He's a UNH guy too.
There were a lot of jokes made about this game coming into it. And the reason why is Seattle had just come off if I'm not mistaken, they had just played Tennessee, and I believe they had just gotten back some player off of the defensive side off of injury. And the joke was that J.J. McCarthy saw the injury report for the Seahawks and that he was going to be playing the Seahawks next week, and all of a sudden he came down with concussion symptoms.
I think that was the Vikings GM being nice.
Yeah, and so Max Brosmer got the start, and there was a pundit who, on TV, predicted Minnesota to not only win the game, but for Max Brosmer to throw for, I think he said 400 yards.
I think Brosmer ended that game, you can fact check me here, I think he ended that game with 4 picks and a QB rating, which was worse than if he had just thrown the ball on the ground every game, or every play.
The pick that he threw to Ernest Jones that he returned for a touchdown was amongst the funniest plays of the NFL season. He just kind of haphazardly flipped it, hoping not to get sacked, and it went right into Ernest Jones.
Kind of like Jarrett Stidham.
Waiting arms. honestly not too different of a play. That being said, the best game of the year and what really got me excited that Seattle would truly, like they were the real deal. They are going to potentially win the Super Bowl this year was that second matchup against the Rams.
Yeah.
The OT game, yeah, sure, the ball bounced in our favor with that very strange 2-point conversion play that ended up, Zach Charbonnet just picking up the ball essentially uncontested in the end zone. But Rashid Shaheed returned a kick for a touchdown. And Sam Darnold, despite throwing 2 picks early, showed up, balled out, made the plays we needed him to make, and went out there and won that game and took it away from the Rams.
Over MVP candidate Stafford. I won't say MVP.
You mean the absolute clear-cut favorite to win MVP?
It's a 2-horse race.
It's a 2-horse race against Drake the Schedule May and Matt Stat Padford.
Schedule's been throwing the ball around.
Now, I think there's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about in terms of some narratives around this game. And I'd like to start, and we can talk about, we can go back and forth with each point. Common opponents. Steelers, Panthers, Saints, Titans, Falcons, Bucks, and Texans.
I think the only...
Seattle had a 101-point margin of victory. New England had a 64-point margin of victory in those games.
Oh, I thought you were... Wait, hold on. Go back.
In common opponents played this season, playoffs or regular season.
I thought you were saying per game. That threw me off for a moment.
Seattle and New England has both played the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Panthers, the Saints, the Titans, the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Texans.
And how many of those teams still have their coach, right?
Well, the Steelers don't. They have a new one. The Panthers do.
Yes, they made the playoffs.
The Saints didn't fire their coach.
Probably should have.
Honestly, there were a lot of people that I was seeing online that think the Saints are the best team in that division despite having the worst record. And honestly, considering how disheveled that division is, that's really not that far of a stretch. I think the Saints finished with 7 wins, which was 1 game out of...
Well, yeah, they never have somebody that bottoms out. It's always a 7-10 and like an 8-9 takes the division.
Well, there was 3 8-9s and a 7-10, I believe, in that division. The Titans, who did fire their head coach, didn't they?
They did, and because Robert Saleh was starting to...
Robert Saleh was hired.
I don't know, he's starting to call season ticket holders to get them to buy season tickets now.
Robert Saleh is in as the head coach. The Atlanta Falcons, who you guys should have lost.
We should have lost that game.
You absolutely should have lost that game. Drake London looked like the best player on the planet that day.
He had 3 TDs, and were you playing me in fantasy that week?
I don't recall, but it's possible. I just remember
he went nuclear.
Watching that game.
London went nuclear.
He mossed every single one of New England's corners. He literally looked like prime Megatron.
And we only won that game due to a missed PAT, and it's killing me that I can't remember the Falcons kicker because it was a former Patriots kicker. So, sleeper agent inside Atlanta, 28-3 Falcons.
So, the Falcons lost you guys by 1, and you guys were at home for that game.
I think we were away.
No, Dave went to that game.
Shout out Dave, Optic Club.
And the Falcons hosted the Seahawks and lost by 28 points.
Good on them, Jim.
The Bucks, like I said, Seattle lost to the Bucks. Dilapidated defense that week.
I think we were out Booty and at least another receiver that week going against the Bucks. Bucks were without Mike Evans that week and also, I believe, Chris Godwin. So both teams were kind of hamstringed on offense, but win's a win. Winning ugly. It's been the theme of the Pats this year. So,
and then the Texans won by 15, the Seahawks won by 15 over the Texans in the regular season. Obviously, C.J. Stroud put on that stinker of a performance against the Patriots a couple weeks ago.
Yes, he did.
So I would say slight advantage Seahawks in terms of common opponents.
Fair.
All right. I want to talk next about the narrative around top defenses and strength of schedule. Not just regular season, but playoffs. And I've got a couple of points to make here. Let's just start by talking about defenses. So New England has played 4 top 15 defenses. I double-checked this today. 4 top 15 defenses in the regular season. That included Buffalo twice, Carolina once, and Cleveland once. I double-checked every single other roster. They were outside the top 15.
I believe you.
Now, Seattle played 8 top 15 defenses in the regular season. San Francisco twice, Los Angeles twice, Jacksonville, Houston, Minnesota, and Carolina.
It's more than half of the top 15.
It is.
It's a quarter of the top defenses in the league.
A quarter of all the defenses in the league.
Someone fact checked him.
32 divided by 8 is 4.
Wasn't a math guy.
Now, obviously New England has had a pretty rough go of it from a defensive, or I guess their defensive opponents in the playoffs. There's no doubting the defenses that they have played against are quite good. And the point that I've been making amongst people who are making that is that a team is not the defense, and if football is a game of momentum, a game of passion.
It's an oblong-shaped object.
If you have an offense that simply cannot sustain drives, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. It can't sustain being on the field constantly if the offense doesn't help them out.
But why were those offenses, with the exception of the Broncos, why weren't those offenses clicking on all cylinders?
Reasonable point. Let's start with the Chargers. 9th ranked defense in the NFL, 20th ranked offense in the regular season. So independent of their playoff game, 20th ranked offense.
Which, I don't want to get it down a tangent here, but that is a team I see a bright future for with the Chargers. The fact that they lost Joe Alt, they lost Rashawn Slater on both sides of that offensive line. I think
there were a lot of teams that had him in the Super Bowl. There are a lot of people who had him in the Super Bowl.
I think that's a team to watch going into next year, and we'll obviously, as the episodes go on, we'll be talking off-season and other teams to watch in the next coming year. But Chargers, they, I believe, underperformed this year.
I think injuries definitely hamstring them. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Justin Herbert break his hand? Didn't he play with either a broken hand or a broken finger during this playoff game?
Something. He had done something a few weeks prior, yes.
And obviously, and it was evident during the game, they had no offensive line.
Yeah, Milton Williams chewed through them.
Milton Williams, the best player on the Patriots, just chewed through them. And when you have an offense that simply cannot stay on the field, it doesn't matter.
It's going to tire out your defense.
Chargers defense gave up 16 points. In most playoff situations, that's enough to win. And unfortunately, when you have an offense that just simply cannot move the ball, and am I correct in saying that the Chargers starting running back also did not play?
Marion Hampton, yeah, he took 2 snaps and said, "I'm good." He was on the injury report all week. 2 snaps. Him and Harbaugh just kind of came together and said, "You know what? Maybe next week." Except in this story, there is no next week. Yeah.
Well, so I think that's a pretty legitimate reason why the Chargers did not show up on offense.
I traded Roma Dunze for him in the season. That was not a good trade.
I had Hampton in one of my leagues that I ended up winning. He came back like right in time to kind of fuel me to playoff victory, but he was a frustrating. I won a league, believe it or not, with Bucky Irving and Amarian Hampton on my roster.
I carried Mike Evans to a second place victory in my work league.
Well, moving on. You said the Texans. New England scored 21 points against the Texans. Despite getting 6 turnovers, New England's offense was only able to muster 21 points. The defense manufactured another 7 and excellent field position throughout the game.
Yes, it did.
And New England was also the recipient of what one could argue as the greatest quarterback meltdown in the history of playoff football.
We'll have to think about that one. Ooh, I'm sure there's better
If you
examples.
have a quarterback meltdown that you think is worse, tell us why. I
and subscribe and drop that comment.
Like you said this earlier, I don't remember which game you were referring to. CJ Stroud could have taken the snap and spiked the ball for every single play from scrimmage.
Yeah.
And he would have had a better quarterback rating than what he actually attempted to do.
Which is disappointing because I do think, looking back, Stroud, I was really big on Stroud. I thought he should have went number 1 overall over Bryce Young. I'd been screaming that for pretty much that entire spot up into the draft. I don't know what the answer for him.
What is the test that they use to test people's decision-making skills?
So, yeah, C.J. Stroud got, I think, a 7 or an 8 on the Wonder
He performed
Leg.
historically poorly.
It was bad. It was worse than Jamarcus Russell. And we won't take up too much time on this pod going over Jamarcus Russell slander. I think we can cover an entire episode or series, not to mention any of the other quarterback busts that have come and gone through the league. But Stroud, you can't be a quarterback in the NFL and have a sub 13 Wonderlic, let alone a 7. It's out of 50. Ryan Fitzpatrick got a 48, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, would you agree that early success in an NFL QB's career can sometimes hinder their long-term success?
That was the word I was going to go for. Yes, I do.
So, I mean, I almost look at it like a gambler who goes to the casino for the first time and they win. They put all their money on black or whatever, and then they win. It's almost bad that you win in that instance. It's almost bad that you go to a AFC championship game, NFC championship game as a young player, because ultimately it sets you up for the extremely high expectations that you need to win in this league, and that if you don't measure up to that, you're a bust afterwards. And that B, getting to the AFC championship, NFC championship, Super Bowl, none of that's guaranteed. Like the fact that you got there once is like a true gift in this league.
I think the first time I went to casino, I lost $750 and gave Ryan Allen, the punter of the Pats, the flu.
That's something.
Yeah, he got cut like 2 weeks later. I was like the summer of 2019.
So I think CJ Stroud's a really, and I mean, he may get a chance in year 4 to prove it, but I don't believe he's under contract.
No. With that being said, I won't make excuses for Stroud or that team. That was a terrible performance. But that being said, Pat still did put up 3 passing touchdowns on that Texans defense, which was the most anybody had done that year. It's can't take that away from them.
I mean, Seattle put up 27 points on them.
We put up 28.
JSN, yeah, but one of them was a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, but he took the ball away and he became an offender.
That's not how that works.
Are you sure?
JSN owns Derek Stingley Jr. and dunked on the goalpost on him after catching a touchdown.
Wait, that makes him and Keyshawn Booty brothers. He did that too with the one-hander.
Now we need to move on to the AFC Championship game.
Do we?
We do. Jarrett Stidham, Jay Stiddy.
Stiddy.
It was a spotlight that was simply not meant for him. It was meant for Bo Nix.
I do love the Milton Williams quote of when them hyping up Jarrett Stidham and they go, they didn't like Nix over him. No, sorry. They didn't like him over Nix. Yes, that's right.
Well, yeah.
Chicken and egg there.
I think the point here is that Jarrett Stidham never should have been starting that game, and the Patriots got an absolute gift in being able to play the backup quarterback in the AFC Championship game.
Still got to win.
And despite that, and I'm going to hear the snow before long, so just give me a second here. New England mustered one of the most lackluster offensive performances in an AFC Championship game winner in recent memory.
Well,
Drake May...
What was the last part? You said winner? Okay.
Brother, Drake May threw for 55 yards before a single flake of snow fell.
I was going to say 86, but that was the total.
It was 86 was the total yards, 55 in the third quarter.
30 is a lot in the snow.
No, it is not. It was one of the most embarrassingly poor performances I have ever seen by an AFC Championship game winner. It gave me real...
You said that word again. I like that word.
What's that term? What's that guy's name? Give me real Trent Dilfer vibes. Where he's getting carried to a Super Bowl by his defense.
That's what Mr. Newton was saying.
Well, I mean, it's hard to argue. A guy who's fumbled 7 times in the playoffs?
It's like 6. Something around there.
6, 7 times in the playoffs. Putting up 10 offensive points, 7 of which are thanks to a 12-yard touchdown drive. Courtesy, again, of an incompetent backup quarterback. Just throwing a chest pass, backwards chest pass.
He was doing his best Nick Van Exel.
Rather than just
Denver passer, yeah, I'll do that.
Rather than just taking a sack. New England has had a very, very easy playoff and regular season road to get here.
To get where?
To second place in the NFL.
Which is where? What game is that?
Losing the Super Bowl.
Oh, so we're in the Super Bowl.
Yes. You
Just win, baby, win. Al Davis. Doesn't matter how you get there.
the Raiders, most notably known
notable
for winning football games in the year
winners, the Raiders.
2025.
Yes. It's funny that the late Al Davis, may you rest in peace, the Raiders in his day were synonymous with winning, and now they are not.
So Seattle has averaged 36 points in the playoffs against, again, the 13th and 10th, or I haven't said this before, but it was the 13th and 10th ranked defense, respectively. They're averaging 36 points in the playoffs.
That game, well, we watched that game here, the Seattle 49ers game.
And they're averaging 16 and a half points against.
That game ended before it even started with Rashid, how do you pronounce his name? Rashid Shaheed?
Yep.
Kickoff return touchdown.
And we'll get into him later. But
Yes,
Rashid Shaheed is one of the most electric players on that team. But he's probably not even one of the top 10 best players on that team. That being said, I think the major point in here, and I think one of the big storylines is the QB matchup here. Drake May has the support of a lot of people around the country. Drake May, he's flashy. He makes plays with his legs. He throws a beautiful deep ball.
He's also an amazing human.
I mean, one could argue Sam Darnold is also that.
Oh, I didn't. I mean, he's
I'm trying to juxtapose here.
he's a poltergeist, is he not? He can see ghosts. I mean, who's he going to call?
Listen, Sam Darnold has already called Bill Murray. It's taken care of.
And Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. Well, regardless, Drake May, despite all the things that he does well, has done a very poor job of protecting the ball in January.
Yes.
And I think the quarterback that can take the sack and not lose the ball is the quarterback who is setting his team up more to win. Sam Darnold has done an excellent job of cleaning up the turnovers as the season has gone on. Hasn't turned the ball over in the playoffs yet. And is coming off...
Did Darnold lead the league in fumbles, though?
Again, I said as the season has progressed.
At 11.
And I believe Drake May now leads the league in fumbles with his 7 in the playoffs.
An extra game in there.
Extra game. That's because Sam Darnold didn't have to play one because he won his division and his conference.
You got to factor in
against the greatest division in the history of the NFL.
Well, they have 3 teams.
There has never been a division that has had 3 12-game winners. It's never happened.
I mean,
there was not only 3 12-game winners. There was a 12, a 13, and a 14-game winner.
Yeah, but with the Niners, they have that practice facility next to a science experiment.
You're so full of it.
So, I don't know, their guys dropping like flies, Achilles snapping like wires.
And yet they still won 13 games.
You know, both our teams aren't practicing at the 49ers facility,
I
right?
do know that.
We're at Stanford. You guys are...
That conspiracy theory has grown some legs.
Grown and then broken those legs.
Sam Darnold outplayed the MVP in the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
He had a better game.
He had probably
the best game of his career.
5 times more yards?
No, it was not the case.
He had like 330 or something.
He threw for like just under 350. Matt Stafford, I believe, also threw for 300 yards.
That'd be close to eight times.
8 times what? You're 8 times May.
80 times. Yeah,
8 times May. Okay,
yeah.
So I misunderstood what you're saying there. And one game in isolation, you can't take yards. But I think more than that, from an eye test, he played better than Matt Stafford did. In a game that everyone was counting on him to fail.
Yes, but because he did not have a good showing a few times against the Rams, because that had been the one focal point that people were putting on in the national media, was that the Rams had Darnold's numbers, so that's there. Back to the another point, though, about kind of May getting like carried to where we are here. I mean, it's crazy because it is a difference compared to how the season panned out, because I just look back to how he had performed as a second-year, 23-year-old quarterback, putting up the numbers he did. So can we sit back and say, did the pressure get to him? I mean, you could, but looking back at it, Still some tough defenses, and then obviously pre-snow AFC Championship game wasn't his best.
I mean,
And then
if the snow doesn't start flying, I'm not sure New England wins that game.
I guess we'll never know.
Because Denver missed a field goal in the snow that would have tied the game.
Blocked it.
Yes, because they weren't allowed a timeout to clear the snow that would have had the kicker a yard and a half deeper.
You have to physically take that timeout, actually.
No, it's actually to be allowed by the NFL in snowy situations like that. Because it's
Pretty sure the Pats burned a timeout in the divisional game in 01.
I was reading about it today that the refs should have granted them time to clear that.
Gotta show what
It's a situation where the NFL failed the team that had the opportunity, and despite that, having a backup quarterback in the elements, refs making a bad decision in real time, they still were literally one play away from tying the AFC Championship game.
Before we head into betting the game, who would you rather have quarterback your team in the Super Bowl, Jarrett Stidham or Tommy DeVito?
Why am I answering this question?
I'm curious.
I mean, Tommy DeVito has more drip, but Jarrett Stidham's probably more NFL ready than Tommy DeVito is right now. Jarrett Stidham is at least a competent backup right now.
He hadn't thrown a pass in
Tommy DeVito, what team does he belong to right now, or is he a free agent?
He's our third string quarterback.
Third string. Who's the second string?
The astronaut, Josh Dobbs.
I'd make the argument Jarrett Stidham is at least a starting quarterback right now. It's second string normally. Tommy DeVito is...
He's physically one.
Tommy DeVito is the third string.
But
Darnold beat the MVP.
DeVito.
Darnold beat the MVP straight up in the NFC Championship game. The MVP runner-up is his next victim. We're talking multiple touchdowns here.
Multiple. I have that too. And on multiple touchdowns, you can bet that. You can bet a lot of things in the Super Bowl, which
You can bet a lot of things in the Super Bowl.
Yes, which we're going to cover too right now. So, as it stands, the Seahawks are right now 4.5-point favorites, which I would give. I think as the week progresses, I think we see the line go up to 5.5, maybe 6. I think.
So I saw that, and I've seen it that Seattle's line is likely to grow, and it at least on social media, I'm seeing that they're kind of the darling, and people are betting the betting favorite are the Seahawks. But I looked up on DraftKings actually just a few minutes ago. 52% of straight money line bets have been placed on the Pats.
And I think here's why. I don't like the line of 4.5 for the Seahawks. And it has nothing to do with the Seahawks as the team itself. Mm-hmm. The Pats have not yet got the doors blown off them this year. They find a way to either win games or famously blow them. Like that second Buffalo game, that was tough. But they've never lost wire to wire. So I think having the Seahawks having a 4.5 line, 5.5 line, it doesn't feel right.
Seattle has consistently blown out teams that were inferior opponents. New England, on paper and by eye test, their offense is not even close to the best that Seattle has faced. And their defense is a defense that they've beat multiple versions of before.
So if you were a fan of the NFL and you weren't or of another team, mm-hmm. and you look at that, you look at the board, minus 230 money line Seattle, plus 190 New England, and over under sitting right at an average 45.5. I don't know. I feel like that's proper for a Super Bowl because I think 50s would be anything in the 50s would be disrespectful to those defenses, and then conversely with Darnold putting up 300 plus yards in the NFC Championship game and maybe being an MVP
I like
candidate. I think anything under than 41 would be tough. But if I was not a Patriots fan, I wouldn't like Seattle minus 230. I would probably parlay it Seattle money line, and we all know it's typically a quarterback-driven award. Safe bet could be parlaying that with Sam Darnold as Super Bowl MVP odds with plus 120. I think you have to take a look at Seattle money line and JSN as your Super Bowl MVP. I think there's some real good value there.
I'd like to say Seattle, if you like him now for the spread, bet it now. The spread will likely grow, as T's kind of alluding to. If you like the Pats to cover, wait till the game starts because that's probably going to be the best spread you get.
I think, quite frankly, I'd rather bet the Pats money line than 4.5 because I think they're either going to win close or
lose big.
Yeah, so I don't see them losing by. I don't see them losing by 3. They either win a close one or 14.
So here's a degenerate statistic for you.
Please.
They've tracked, I saw this on social media, I don't remember the source off the top of my head, 25 years of evening games between an East Coast and a West Coast team.
Oh, I know. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they basically, it's playing on chronological clocks.
Yep.
This obviously is a night game between an East Coast and a West Coast team, which is relevant to what they were talking about. 68% of the time, if I remember correctly, that team, the West Coast team, covers against the spread. And the reason why is that if it's a 6:30 start on the West Coast, that is 6:30 time for Seattle Seahawks coaches, players, staff, etc. New England, however, is on East Coast time. Now, one would hope that they're there now.
They are. They landed yesterday.
So they can adjust
I'd say a week's time is enough to adjust.
as much as possible, but it shouldn't be ignored that they're technically on 9:30 chronological time during the Super Bowl. That might not seem like a competitive advantage, but it has resulted in the West Coast team covering the spread at a 68% clip, regardless of whether the game's played on the East Coast or the West Coast.
Is that just the regular season?
I don't know for certain.
Another one kind of combating that, though, teams that travel in the Super Bowl only. I forget what percentage clip it was, but teams that travel west to the Super Bowl versus teams that travel east, more often than not, the team that travels west is indeed the winner. Now, that being said, if that stat's looking at anything in the last 25, 35 years, gotta imagine Thomas Edward, Patrick Brady Jr. is probably skewing that number a little bit, but because they're anywhere is west for the Super Bowl for them. So take that stat as you will. I think
there's a couple of other kind of little bets that I like as well.
What do you got?
I like the over for yards for Drake May. I think
at what is it?
If I remember correctly, it was somewhere between 220 and 240. I can't remember the number off top. Drake May is likely going to be behind in this game early. If he is going to make this a game, he is going to have to do it by throwing.
And you're saying over?
I think it's over. I think regardless of how dominant Seattle's defense is, which I think they will be dominant come Sunday, Drake May is going to have to force the ball downfield, even if it results in interceptions, in order to stay competitive.
Season. Yeah.
You got to let it loose at this point.
So it's funny you say that because I don't know what the line is at. I'm going under.
Why is that?
I think his bread and butter all year has been scrambling and making plays with his feet and also the occasional well-placed deep bomb. Mm-hmm. I think Seattle takes that away from him. I think he's going to have to try it at some point because, I also do foresee the Patriots being down early in this one, and I think they're going to take what is available. Mm-hmm. And I'll get into my stat projections for the game as well, but I see Diggs heavy game. I see a Hunter Henry heavy game, but moderate enough where they're getting the yards they need to when they need to, but it's not going to be anything where it's a crazy amount through the air. In fact, if anything, I have a lot more emphasis on May, Henderson, and Stevenson running the ball more than I do the Pats. And with the game flow I'll go over later, it'll make sense, but I think the Pats get more done on the ground than they do the air.
I don't agree with that take at all. I think Seattle has been the number one run-stopping defense in the NFL. Byron Murphy, rookie, arguably the best run-stopping defensive tackle, not named Milton Williams in the NFL. I think Ramondre Stevenson and Trevion Henderson are going to be complete non-factors in this game.
Okay.
I think Kayshon Boutte is going to sneak a couple of deeper balls thrown from Drake May in between the soft spots because I think special attention is going to be paid to Diggs.
So who covers? So Witherspoon covers Diggs, and then Woolen covers Booty, or is it
We don't have
you do zone?
We don't we it's definitely a nickel and zone.
Who's picking
priority.
up Booty more? Is my question.
I honestly don't know the Patriots' side preferences to receivers. We do not have a system that trails a single receiver.
Okay.
I think the way we try to cover zones is going to allow for some soft spots.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a question of, does Drake May have enough time to find those soft spots?
I think
inevitably he's going to get it right once or twice, and that's why I think Booty's a cheeky little pick to get 25 plus yards.
So I'll give a sneak peek to my stat projections. I have him at 27 yards and 4 catches, with one of his targets resulting in an interception. Probably Woolen. Mm-hmm. But, oh no, I didn't have Woolen. I had, who's your guy?
Nick Demon Worry.
Yes.
Demon Worry, if that helps.
Are you a heads or tails guy on the coin flip?
I hate that bet, but tails never fails.
Tails never fails. All right, so historically, I am a guy that picks heads because Matt Slater was talking about why he always picked heads, and his dad always said that God is at the head of my table, so I always pick heads. Picked heads in the overtime call of Super Bowl 51, so I historically always go heads, which makes me think it's going to be tails in this game, and Seattle wins the opening coin toss and defers to the second half. So
you
probably win the coin toss.
Yeah, so
you'll win something on Sunday.
Speaking of kickoffs, Rashid Shaheed. He is probably the most fun bet you can play in the Super Bowl. Him to score a touchdown. I don't know what the line is.
What, anytime?
Anytime touchdown for Rashid Shaheed. I'm telling you, Seattle loves their electric return man. And Rashid Shaheed has proven, since we traded for him in November, I believe he's returned 2 kicks and 2
You guys
punts
only
for
giving
touchdown.
up a 4th round pick.
I think it was a 4th and a 5th rounder.
Regardless, 4th and 5th.
The catch is that we're going to have to pay him this offseason.
If he wins you guys the Super Bowl,
Now, it will be interesting to see if Mike Vrabel says, no, I'm not kicking to Rashid Shaheed.
I wouldn't. Rashid Shaheed right now for any time is plus 350.
I think that's a fun pick.
I think a funner one would be plus 3,500 for 2+.
Oh, that'll never happen. If Rashid Shaheed gets the ball in his hands and goes to the house, he is never getting to return another kick.
I think a sneaky one is also Booty at plus 330. But so national anthem. This is one that I always.
I'm locked in. I'm standing at the position of attention. I'm not saluting the flag, but I'm locked in for that piece.
Well, so I always do like to bet the over, and I think there was one year the woman, I think it was a gospel singer or something, double pumped on the.
I think I was.
What
with
lyric?
You were
was it?
Furious. You were.
Well, no, I was pumped because I was like, "Let's go!" Like she really drew it out on one line, and it snuck the over. It was like, "Yes." But
no!
This year
we had to. Somebody was mad. I can't remember who it was.
I think so. I think this was the year the Eagles. No, it was the Eagles and the Chiefs. We were watching it at my wife's parents' house.
I do remember.
Yeah.
that.
So I think it was then.
There was somebody that was mad about it.
Yes. This year it's Charlie Puth, great singer. I think they've had okay picks for the national anthem the last few years. Chris Stapleton was a great pick. That was awesome. But Charlie's a good pick. In researching Charlie Puth's national anthems, apparently they are very efficient. So Vegas has put the
wasted time.
Vegas has put the line at 119.5 seconds on his national anthem, which historically most anthems for sports go about 90 seconds. Super Bowls go a little bit longer, so this being at 119.5.
So do we like the over?
I don't know. I think...
Do we have tape to watch? Can we pull it up like Tavon Austin highlights?
We will do that after the show. I will watch a Charlie Puth national anthem with you strictly for betting purposes. I think it is unpatriotic to bet the under of a national anthem, so I will go with the over.
I'm going to have to rock with you. If that's the one bet I'm rolling with you this weekend, then so be it.
Yeah. Well, there might be a few based on what you see later.
Yeah.
I have 2 other props.
Sure.
Now, his music's electric. It's fun. I don't listen to it often because Like, I like Pitbull. I like Sean Paul, but I don't know Spanish enough to really get into Bad Bunny's music. My wife loves Bad Bunny, but I don't know too much.
I can't definitively say I've listened to Bad
He's
Bunny.
good. No, he's got good stuff. We're filming
I'm
this.
not hating.
Oh, yeah, no.
I just don't listen to it.
We're filming this the night after he won 2 Grammys, so very on topic. But I think he comes out to, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but Chambea. I'm only betting that because he did a WWE event in Puerto Rico 3 years ago where he went out to that, and the place went nuts. So I'd like to think maybe he doesn't do it twice, lightning doesn't strike twice, but that feels like a safe bet for me. Do you know any of his work?
I have no betting interest in that.
That's fine.
It would be true gambling because I have no idea what.
And then last one for you, Gatorade color.
So I was just about to bring this up myself. When the Seattle Seahawks win the Super Bowl, Mike McDonald is going to wear a Gatorade color that simply is just fitting to his roots. It's going to be purple. To acknowledge the work he did as the Ravens defensive coordinator, the best defensive coordinator in the NFL at the time.
Purple, though.
Number 1 defense. And he's going to take a purple Gatorade bath after his now Seattle Seahawks win the Super Bowl.
Purple's kind of a trash Gatorade color, though, no? I mean...
That's what it is.
Not even just from a color perspective, but just, what is it? Light blue is the GOAT. I think we'll get consensus there. Light blue is the GOAT.
I think I have a second favorite flavor that I hold to a similar standard of its light blue.
So I'm going to go history repeats itself. So I'm 90% sure the Gatorade color for Super Bowl 49 was orange. Orange is a pretty consistent Gatorade flavor.
Orange is probably my favorite flavor.
So that'll make it even worse when you see Mike Vrabel just kind of wiping his
You're
face.
so delusional.
You're like, oh, I know what that tastes like. Tastes like victory.
Tastes like the L that you guys are going to take.
Now we've got
I do have a couple more bets that I want to cover. Just a couple simple prop bets. I think Kenneth Walker is going to get a nice steady diet early in the game to force New England to take our run game seriously to open up that play action game. K9's going to run for 70 plus yards. He's also going to be the first touchdown scorer of the game.
We agree on the yards. I don't have that Seahawk being first touchdown of the game. I'll get into that towards the back half.
Well, who do you have?
Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Go ahead.
The pride of North Andover, Jake Bobo.
Jake Bobo,
first
stud.
Which, if we were to look on DraftKings right now, what that prop is going for.
Did you see that route he ran?
I did
in the NFC Championship.
I watched
game?
it. Right now, first TD score of Jake Bobo of North Andover, Massachusetts would go for plus 5,000. So 10 would win you $510. So I'm just saying, I think that's a steady.
That is a more fun bet. I will
steady
give you
investment.
That. I will give you that it is a fun bet.
Yes, I have him as the first scorer of that game.
Who's the Patriots X Factor player in this game?
Well, so when we were divvying up this topic, I kept it general, not just X Factor player, but it can be another factor. I am going to go with the combo of Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels.
You're not going for a player, you're going for a coach.
Coaches, yes, because I think there's several players that I think if they have breakout games, they could make a chance to be in the Pats Hall of Fame someday. But two guys that I know will be in the Pats Hall of Fame at some point down the line, Vrabel and McDaniels, the fact that they have both been in this game, one as a player, one as a coach, and sometimes in both the same games, because Vrabel caught a touchdown in Super Bowl 38 and 9. In 39, McDaniels was also an offensive assistant, and then obviously went on to help win a slew of other Super Bowls.
Sure.
They'll be able to preface to the team, which has a lot of youth. This team also has, I believe, over 25 new players to this roster than they did the prior year. They need to be able to reiterate that this is just a game. There's extra media noise, extra attention. I think them having the mindset, been there, done that, will obviously help. Conversely, a lot of what we've seen in this NFL playoffs is coaches doing too much. not like a Dan Campbell going for it all the time on fourth down, but
There has been some of that. I will say.
yeah, like Sean Payton, especially with that decision to not go up 10. There's
that bit him. I mean, it ended up costing him the game.
I think coaches trying to out-coach will be the undoing, and I think Vrabel's been pretty steady. Obviously, he is more gung-ho than most when it comes to fourth down. I think you'll see that in this game too, but I think if they can keep it to just another game and keep the young guys one-track mind, just blinders on, utilizing those veterans that have won in the big game before, I think that will help this team get over the hump.
As far as the Patriots go, I think guys who have been there, done that are going to be the X factor in this game. It's Milton Williams. He's the best player on the roster. I mean, I'm going to catch heat for that. Everybody wants to say May's the MVP, in Patriots land. And I get it. He's flashy. He's fun. He's thrown some beautiful deep balls throughout the season. I'm going to give him his flowers. But he is not the most important player to this team's success. New England has won in the playoffs not because of Drake May's excellence or his pretty deep ball. They have won because they have absolutely been suffocating on defense.
In the 4 or 5 games Milton missed, I'm going to paraphrase the stats here, but the Pats are giving up like 120 rushing yards per game. In games he was in, you want to guess?
It's probably less than 80.
Right around the 70s. So not a bad take. Also, in games that Christian Gonzalez and Milton Williams have played together, I'm sure you've heard this through the media rounds, guess how many games they've lost this year when they've both played?
I imagine the number is 0.
The number is 0, like Christian Gonzalez.
Well, Christian Gonzalez, I think, is an X factor for the wrong reason. And the reason why is that when he played against good wide receivers, he was exposed for not being nearly as good as the media likes to prop him up to be.
I'm going to let you run with this take, but I forgot to list your X Factor player you're probably going to agree with on your side too, because we've already spent a ton of time of the show talking about him.
Okay, go ahead.
Rashid Shaheed.
Easily. I love that he's an X Factor player.
I had him pinned as X Factor on your side.
I agree, but I think it's more than him, and I'll go into why in a little bit. I think the X Factor player, positively speaking for the Patriots, is Milton Williams. I think negatively speaking, it's Christian Gonzalez. JSN beats your best corner, and not only does he beat your best corner, he makes them look helpless.
Can I show you, without revealing to the crowd, can I show you my projected JSN stat line?
Go ahead. Oh, that's something. That's something. Christian Gonzalez doesn't stop really, really good receivers. He stops bad receivers.
Now,
that being said, he's a great player, and he may be useful if Vrabel wants to change up, but if he ends up shadowing JSN or doesn't have safety help,
I go back and forth on Christian Gonzalez. So PFF has historically had him as a great cornerback. Him and Carlton Davis this year combined have had a pretty good season. There have been points where...
But do your eyes tell you a different story?
Partially, yes. Those that have been around me watching games know that outside of the early fumbles with Mondre, one of the Pats players I openly criticize is a Christian Gonzalez. Now, he's come up clutch, obviously, with that interception. Now, whether the Broncos should have, A, thrown in that situation, B, if that was a good pass to begin with, is one thing. That Stidham ball early on, it looked like he had forgot that there was safety help covering the top, but not a great look. I think they do end up extending him. I think you have to. I think he is a corner of the defense, but I am not big on him compared to the rest of Pats Nation. You saw my projected stat line for JSN just there. I think he has a tough game, but I think that he has redeeming parts in this game that make it not so egregious.
JSN is the Offensive Player of the Year for a reason. Or at least he will be selected to be the Offensive Player of the Year for a reason.
I think he wins it.
I don't think he's the X Factor player because you know what you're going to get from JSN.
So
you're going to get... No. I'll get to it. Okay. You're probably going to get about 100 yards from JSN. You're going to get some absolutely insane balls that only he can catch. And, to that end, I honestly don't think Sam Darnold's the X Factor either. I think we're going to get a really good game out of Sam Darnold, and he's going to make good decisions. because he's shown over the course of the season that he makes better and better decisions. The real X factor that I think is honestly is going to be on the defensive side of the ball for the Seahawks. Is it the most important unit? No, but I think it's one of the rookies on that defense. And the rookies that I have in mind are big defensive tackle Byron Murphy.
Is he a rookie this year?
He's a rookie.
Byron Murphy the second, if I'm not mistaken, Texas. He's a Texas guy.
Honestly, I'm not positive on that. I'm going to assume you're right. Byron Murphy, Pro Bowl snub. I think he has a huge game against this suspect Patriots offensive line, along with the rest of those guys on the defensive line. But I think that's kind of a dark horse X factor player. The real X factor player here is Nick Immanwori. He's the best player on the defense. He's a rookie. He can play deep coverage. He can crack people across the middle. He can stop the run. He can sack the quarterback. He can block field goals.
Was he a second-round pick or third-round pick?
He was a second-round pick.
So
Mike McDonald said, I need a nickel corner like I had in, I'm forgetting the Ravens player's name, Kyle Hamilton. I need a Kyle Hamilton, and he went out and he got him in the first draft.
Yeah, they're on par with each other, I'd say. And I think I'd agree with your pick. I think I see him, it's pronounced
Immanwori.
I can never get that right. Immanwori, I'd have him with a sack and interception in this game. So I could see that coming.
Yep.
Now, I'll pivot to what you had just started talking about as far as units that could be a make or break. So with this segment, with keeping with the milk theme, we're calling it the Calcium Cruise. And my Calcium Crew that I believe will either win or lose this game. I mean, as you said it, our offensive line has been suspect. I have to put them at the forefront. Now, historically, Pat's teams that have won the Super Bowl have had staples on the offensive line, whether you look at like a Matt Light, a Joe Andruzzi, or a David Andrews, or Sebastian Vollmer, just naming guys right off the rip.
None of those players or players of that caliber reside on the current Patriots offensive line.
And I'm getting there. So this is actually the first time a team has made the Super Bowl with two rookies on the offensive line. This is the first time.
First time in Patriots history?
No, first time in Super Bowl history.
Really? Okay, I didn't know
Two
that.
rookies on the offensive line, yes. So let's talk Will Campbell. I think he's got the demeanor that you want in an offensive lineman, that true blue-collar, bring your lunchbox to work type guy.
Put on your hard hat, go to work.
Yes. Jared Wilson, you know how I've stood on that pick since day one. I'm very much a believer. If anything, I was actually more happy that we got him than we got Will Campbell, because I think after, they had cut David Andrews, or the team mutually released. I was like, we need a center of the future, and I saw him clear as day in that draft. I'm so glad we got him. I think his long-term, the plan is to move him back over there, but right now he's left guard because Garrett Bradbury's done a pretty good job filling in the shoes that David Andrews left, but that's a...
Do we do a double shift there?
To what, Bradbury to right guard?
No. Do you move the center? Yeah. Do you move? It's actually a triple shift. You move everybody over.
Well, I think...
Because I'm of the opinion that Will Campbell long-term does not play left tackle.
I think Bradbury won't be on the team next year, so I wasn't even mentally picturing him in that conversation.
Yep.
And obviously, as these episodes go on, we'll cover what needs to be addressed in the offseason. But yes, I think Jared Wilson, long-term center. I do think in bursts, Will Campbell has looked great, but also conversely, there have been some...
On average, he has not.
There have been some points where, he's looked suspect. But at the same rate, he also has been injured a ton for the back half of the year. So at this point, he's not going to cry foul and say, hey, I'm injured, I'm not doing great. He's going to take that in stride.
I think prior to that Browns game, I did say that Myles Garrett would, quote, rip his arms off and feed them to him. And then Myles Garrett had 5 of his record 23 sacks in that game.
So I think right now, Campbell can get the job done. Now, it's not going to be pretty, but collectively as a unit, great offensive lines usually aren't one great guy and then like a bunch of mediocre players, because we've seen how great talents like a Joe Thomas can get.
You think, honestly, that Will Campbell can, on repeat, beat players like Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams?
He's getting another spoiler of my
and
predictions.
Byron Murphy. I think the answer is no. I think the answer is a definitive no. And it seems you agree with me.
So while I think he will, for the majority of the game, get done what needs to be done, but there will be some errant lapses where you're just like, okay, that's tough.
Yep.
But I think on the whole, I think if this team can establish a good play action, keep May to under 4 sacks, if they can just keep it to 2 or 3, I think you have a very good chance of winning this game. If you get into a situation where May is getting sacked 5, 6, or 7 times,
Okay, that's 3. You're out.
we've hit our quota for that now. But I think the offensive line will be what makes or breaks this game.
So I put down 2 units, 1 for each team. I agree with you.
I'll keep mine short for yours. Your secondary.
I agree with your New England offensive line take. If they can hold the way the Rams held last week against the Seahawks, Drake May can make some pretty balls happen. He can make plays. I will not hate on Drake May, but the real question is, can they do that? And I think the answer is no, because the answer has been no so far in the playoffs. It's just New England has had the benefit of playing opponents that have not really been able to do anything about it. Seattle is not going to give them that agency.
Here's a monkey wrench to throw in there, though. Obviously, your plan is to protect the quarterback.
Sure.
Can you tell me what team gave up the most yards on what the NFL PFF considers to be broken plays?
Oh, it's Seattle. Yeah.
So
Seattle.
while it may not be ideal, maybe the path to victory is just playing backyard football.
Yeah, but the key to broken play success is not getting the play blown up from the very start.
Immediately, yeah.
And Seattle's very good at blowing up the play from the very start. And New England's off, like, as you're aware of, this offensive line is not the best unit in the NFL. Now, my true calcium crew for Seattle, I think, is special teams in general. I think defense may very well take control of this game, but it will be after an electric special teams play happens. Seattle has returned kicks, punts, and kickoff returns for touchdowns. They have blocked field goals. They have recovered seemingly an endless amount of muffed punts this season, not just in the NFC Championship games.
I won't describe the tweet you sent me.
That was not
family friendly. No,
but I mean, Seattle all year long has had just a nose. Like, they have the best punter in the NFL, statistically speaking. So New England is on average not going to have great field position to start drives.
Well, it depends if ghosts are in the field.
Well, I'm going to leave that delusion in 2017, 18, sorry. I don't know who is going to make the electric play on special teams, but somebody's going to.
Yes.
And Rashid Shaheed, maybe, perhaps.
We'll get to my predictions.
And I think if Seattle makes even one electric special teams play, New England does not have the offensive firepower to rally and overcome that kind of deficit.
Fair enough. And then, score prediction.
Score prediction. Do you want to start, or am I starting?
Well, I have my score prediction. I also have my recap. I think it might make sense to do the, you'll hear my score prediction as we go on.
Tell me how the game plays out.
All right. And I'll give some stats after. So, had some time to think about this, and there's one thing I know about this Pats team. Some games have been won beautifully, like against like a Titans team or a New York Football Jets, which I don't know if you can really say football much in that sentence, but a lot of the games,
Feetball.
Rex Ryan, they win ugly. They win close and they win ugly. They're not winning games on how you're supposed to win them, but they just win. So,
Mark Davis again.
With that being said, so like I mentioned earlier, I think they call heads. Seattle wins the coin toss with it being tails, and Seattle defers to the second half. May, 3-and-out, opening series, punts the ball back. The Seahawks I see with a 7-yard Jake Bobo touchdown from Darnold at about 9:12 remaining in the first, take an early 7-0 lead.
Mm-hmm.
I think you see a punt back and forth between each team. A lot of punting in this game. I think this is going to be a game where there won't be too many field goal attempts. In fact, I only have 2 in the entire game, both of which by New England.
Mm-hmm.
There becomes a situation late in the first quarter where Mike Vrabel is deciding to go for it on 4th down, and then you see either a pre-snap penalty, either delay a game on May, or a false start by somebody on the offensive line, forcing them back to settle for a 39-yard field goal. 7-3 Seattle to end the first quarter.
Okay.
Now, for the majority of this game, I actually have the Pats defense really stifling. Kenneth Walker the third, KW9, as you say.
K9.
K9.
He's a dog, K9.
However, I do think he breaks one big play today that really bolsters his stat line of a 35-yard touchdown around 10:52 left in the second to make the score 14-3 Seattle. So at one point in this game, Seattle has 11 points.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in that quarter, probably between the 2-minute warning and 10:52 when Seattle scores, I think May tries to take a deep shot, but it's intercepted.
By
And
Nick Emenwari.
yes, I think Seattle's doing a lot on defense to start off the game, and it's just not getting the Pats to where they need to be. Same can be said about the Seahawks, other than the 2 plays. First to start the game with Bobo, and then KW9. Pats get a crucial stop on 3rd down, forcing the Seahawks to punt. Now, I agree. I do think special teams is going to be a huge part of this game. And I do think there's going to be the first punt return touchdown ever in Super Bowl history. But it's not going to be Rashid Shaheed. It's going to be Marcus Jones for 71 yards to cap off the end of the first half, with Seattle being 14-10.
Seattle covers punts pretty well. I don't know about that.
That doesn't mean it's going to go to plan.
I mean, I understand Marcus Jones is a good returner, but Seattle plays excellent special teams.
Now,
that is a bold prediction.
Another one of my predictions for this game is Sam Darnold's following stat line as I go through the second half. 25 of 36.
I think that was his exact completion percentage in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, I was going off of like something right around the 68 to 70, so
yep.
238 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. One of which comes early in the third, setting the Pats up for good field position for, it's 7:34 in the third quarter, a 14-yard Hunter Henry strike from Drake May, giving the Pats the lead, 17-14. From there, a lot of punts back and forth. Another interception from Sam Darnold, or one interception to start the game, or not start the game, third quarter.
Yep.
A lot of reminiscent of Super Bowl 53 with Rams Pats, like a lot of
ugly defensive
struggle of punts.
Okay.
Fourth quarter. The Pats will score 0 offensive points in the fourth quarter, but a 46-yard Marcus Jones interception TD to bring them up to 24-14.
So 3 picks.
No, 2 picks.
Oh, so you're saying one goes for 6?
One goes for 6. Marcus Jones, who, if you hadn't predicted or thought of by now, is my Super Bowl 60 MVP prediction at plus 5,500. Actually,
so you think he's going to have a punt return touchdown and an interception return?
First player to do so in NFL history.
That is
yes.
Okay, so if you parlay that and win that, let me know how buying your new mortgage goes.
Yes. So makes it a 10-point lead for Seattle. Or excuse me, New England in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle has a chance to make a comeback around 4 minutes left in the game.
Down 10? 24?
Down 10, yes.
Okay.
Right around the 3-minute mark. Cooper Kupp catches it, fumbles.
Oh, this prediction's terrible.
Recovers by Gonzalez.
This is
but
terrible.
The Pats are not in field goal range. All they can do is just drain timeouts. All they can do is drain.
This is terrible.
The Seahawks get the ball back.
With how much time left?
About like a minute 30. At the 49-second mark, I see JSN getting a 53-yard touchdown from Sam Darnold. And the question of whether to go for 2 to bring it with a field goal winning or just kicking the PAT to get it to a field goal gets it to 24-21.
Okay, yeah, you definitely kicked the PAT there.
They kick the PAT, and they do not get the onside kick. And this season, with Mike Vrabel, the first play they ran in training camp was running victory formation. And it would only be fitting that the last play they run this season would be in victory formation with a 24-21 New England Patriots victory.
That is why you don't do drugs. Not only is there absolutely no historical justification for any of those predictions.
Well, hold on. I didn't even get to my stats yet.
Oh, continue the delusion. Go ahead.
So you and I both were talking about Drake May passing yards. You were the over, I was the under.
Yep.
I have May's stat line being 21-30, $187 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Very pedestrian game, much akin to Tom Brady's first Super Bowl.
If he performs like that, the Patriots don't win the Super Bowl. There's no justifying that.
I can see the Pats putting up 10 points on offense, maybe a little bit more, but it would be fitting for...
You're saying 14 special teams points, and
yes.
That is crazy.
Yes.
That is... I don't think a team has ever won a Super Bowl even close to resembling that performance.
That's the point.
There's like Seattle.
This team wins ugly.
Seattle in the most lopsided Super Bowl ever? Question mark. 43-8 against the Denver Broncos. Had a kickoff return touchdown, a safety.
Was the Pats Bears worse?
The
Niners had some bad ones too.
Similar level.
Yeah.
In recent memory, one of the worst blowouts in Super Bowl history. And had a defensive touchdown as well. And it required them getting 43 points and fully dominating the other team. If you're telling me the Patriots are going to fully dominate the Seahawks,
no, I don't think they are.
Because that's the requirement to having that kind of stat line.
I think it's more of that game is not more a dominant. It's more so they make plays when they need to. I really don't think if this is going to be a game that the Pats win, it's not going to be a shootout. It's going to be a gritty game where they make the plays they need to. And right now, also the line is 45. Or 45.5. I have it right at 45. So I'd be going Pats money line and the under at there.
See, the Seahawks don't make those kind of mistakes. At least they haven't made them in recent games. And I believe it's 10-game winning streak or 11. I think it's 9 or 10.
Quite frankly, the stats don't support this prediction, but that's what predictions are. Sometimes they have to go outside the norm. Do you know what the Pats' turnover ratio was this year? Like what they ended at?
Define turnover ratio.
Takeaways and turnovers. Do you know what? I forget what they call that stat. But
I know what you mean.
Do you know what the number was?
Well, so Drake probably only fumbled it 3 or 4 times for loss. Ramondre probably fumbled it for loss 6, 7, 8 times, something like that.
18, 20, maybe more.
And Drake May only threw 8 picks. So Patriots probably had 20 odd turnovers, if I had to guess. And they probably took the ball away 30 times.
Less. So their turnover margin was +3. I think they increased that by 66% in this game.
That is insane. Insane. So not only are you saying that they're going to score a kickoff or a punt return, they're going to have an interception return for a touchdown. They're going to have 2 interceptions in the game.
Yes.
But you're also acknowledging the fact that the Patriots, on average, don't behave like that in real games.
Correct.
Against the softest schedule in the history of the NFL.
Correct.
That is deranged behavior.
But it comes back to this. This is why they play the games. On paper, everyone has been saying the Patriots aren't worth a damn in this game. You see, everyone saw the panelist projections on ESPN where they all picked the Texans. We're rolling. We're rolling now, are we? Apologies for the technical disruption, but
that phone ran out of milk, and much like bones need calcium, phones need battery charge, and unfortunately, we were talking so much, we didn't realize that the phone had died. So we're going to condense about 30 minutes of content into about, not a 2-minute drill, but enough time to milk the clock. No pun intended.
I don't think a 2-minute drill is going to be required in this Super Bowl, but either way, let's dive into my score prediction.
Again,
Seattle.
yes.
They're going to win the Super Bowl, point blank up front. They're going to jump out to an early lead, 10-0. New England's going to go 3 and out in their first 2 possessions. On their third possession, they're going to force the ball. They're going to find a way to get a field goal, 10-3. Seattle's going to get the ball back. Kenneth Walker's going to punch it in for a second time, making it 17-3. They're going to go into the half at that score. Seattle's going to come out of the locker room, get the ball in the second half, because they've deferred in the first half. They're going to score again to make it 24-3. New England's going to go into desperation mode. They're down 21 points. They need scores. They're going to start forcing the ball down the field. They're going to muster up a field goal. They're not really going to have an option. They'll have to kick the field goal. Vrabel will wisely take the points, making it 24-6. Seattle will then go 3 and out. Give it back to New England. New England will find a way. Kayshon Boutte is going to find the end zone for 25-plus yards on this reception. Soft spot in the zone. Run after the catch. New England's going to make it 24-13. Close game. Seattle's going to get the ball back, and Sam Darnold's going to take this game completely over. JSN is going to do normal JSN things. He's going to catch balls over your best quarterback. Sorry, Christian Gonzalez, you're going to have a long day. Seattle's going to score another touchdown on the next possession.
If that helps.
Long night. Whatever, same thing. It's going to be 31-13. New England is going to force the ball into the fourth quarter, down the field, attempting to try and make some sort of magic happen. Fortunately, it's going to result in a Drake May interception, which Sam Darnold will take advantage of and put the exclamation point down, making it 38-13. Late in the fourth quarter, New England will be the last team to possess the ball, but they will not be able to score, and they might be in victory formation, but in defeat.
Oh, no. Oh, God. A Mike Vrabel team would never...
Down 25 with less than 2
go
minutes
out
to go?
guns blazing. Don't do that.
25 with 2 minutes to go?
Well, you did say earlier that Sam Darnold would be on demon time, which is fitting for his affinity for the spirit and shadow realm and all that. Ghosts, spirits.
Patriots fans are all the same. I listened to Portnoy say this crap today. That was 8 years ago.
Oh, did you see what he did you see what he DM'd JSN?
No, I didn't.
He DM'd him saying, "Hey, hope your quarterback doesn't see ghosts this time."
He literally sounds like a Cowboys fan.
You know what JSN said back?
I had no idea.
He was actually very nonchalant about it. He's like, "Oh, thanks, man. That means a lot coming from you." I don't know much about JSN as a person, but now I actually kind of...
I feel like Portnoy left that situation confused.
I was confused reading it, too, because I was like, oh, maybe he's...
Never let him know your next move. Wear 2 left shoes.
Maybe he's just a chill guy. I don't know. I mean, his stat line I have projected of 9 catches, 121 yards.
There were a lot of people say he was not a legitimate one wide receiver, and that by getting rid of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, that the Seattle Seahawks were going to be bums and JSN was not going to be able to thrive. And then he led the league in receiving yards.
You know what narrative we didn't dive into, but I'm glad we remembered now?
What's that?
JSN and Gonzo were back-to-back picks.
One is clearly better than the other.
Well, we'll see that for Sunday. That's fine. I also think that's...
JSN is going to own Gonzo on Sunday.
So,
as he has done to everybody's favorite corner. Shout out Derek Stingley Jr.
One piece, though, you didn't account for, and we won't cover it too much if we've already spoken about it, but you are now going up against not one, but 2 mushes in this matchup. Both myself and my brother, who's also... he was successful last year. He was unsuccessful the year before, but
he just bets for the Chiefs every year.
No, he started mushing them towards the end. But then I am 3-0 this year, so...
So, Tristan here loves to make his mush a thing. Or he wants to make his mush a thing. If you have seen the movie Mean Girls, Regina George says to Gretchen, "Gretchen, fetch is never going to be a thing. The mush that Tristan keeps trying to will into existence. It's never going to be a thing.
It is a thing.
It never works.
It's worked 3 times.
No, it actually, just because the Patriots have won 3 games in a postseason doesn't account for the 5 or 6 years you've been doing this.
No,
you consistently put up these. He puts up these bets that are fading what he actually wants to happen, in the hopes that he's going to make money. It's only
been going on 2 or 3 years.
Oh, it's been more than 3 years. It's definitely been more than 3 years.
We've only weaponized them most recently. It used to just be bad betting. Now it's just
it's the intent of trying to make that outcome somehow not happen, or at least profit in the process. And he keeps trying to make this a thing. It's not. It's not going to work. Seattle's a better team.
Dread it. Run from it.
Destiny arrives all the same. Seattle arrives. They're here.
We never left. You guys may be arriving. We barely left.
I mean, you went 4-13 last year, and the year before that.
Yeah. Now
You firmly left. New England fans, less than 2 seasons ago, were screaming for Bailey.
We had to get new shoes.
You were screaming for... Drake May is not the second coming of Tom Brady. He's due for a major regression in year 3. A la Jaden Daniels, a la CJ Stroud.
Well, Daniels hit it in year 2, and Stroud hit it in year 2. This is year 3 coming up.
Okay, so Drake May didn't have a good first year.
Oh no, this would be year 2.
Drake May had a stinker in year 1.
This is year 2, so next year.
Okay, so we're offset by 1 season.
Offset.
Drake May also had a stinker in year 1.
Yeah, he had Gerard Mayo as a head coach.
2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and I believe 9 fumbles.
Josh Allen didn't look too pretty in his rookie year, too.
He stunk.
Peyton led the league in interceptions his rookie year.
Okay, and?
That means
Drake May has only become better as a result of a absolute loaded easy schedule. And one of the biggest offseason free agency spends in NFL history.
I think ours in 21 might have been more for...
Well, the salary cap is higher than it's ever been, so that's what leads me to suggest...
That would check out. However, I remember at the time it was one of the largest expenditures in 21.
The salary cap did increase by 20 some odd million this past offseason.
That's only going to
keep going up. It's actually scheduled to increase by I think another 25.
Especially after the ESPN deal that got inked this morning.
I honestly am not familiar.
Oh yeah, NFL and ESPN just inked a deal, a TV deal today.
Oh,
or not today, literally days ago.
I guess the point remains is that Drake May got a huge influx of money spent on him in the offseason and was the recipient of the easiest schedule arguably ever. And just based on the opponents that he has to play next year, I think it's somewhere between 10 and 12 playoff teams he has to play.
We doing a live episode at
next year rather.
Believe so.
He unfortunately is in for a bit of trouble come next season, and a regression would be very reasonable to predict.
The pod will be traveling to scenic Seattle, Washington, to watch the Patriots take on the Seahawks again
in a Super Bowl rematch next season in the year 2026-2027.
In the interest of not getting our milk carton dry, we're going to cap off this episode with speaking to our future selves about this Super Bowl. And I guess I'll kick it off by saying, Future T, thank you for the script here. Appreciate that. I don't know what you did to get the script over to me to see exactly how this game's going. Marcus Jones, Super Bowl MVP, plus 6,000. It's a great pick, the best of picks. You're not going to enjoy watching on the plane, cut and dry. Sorry that you have to watch the Super Bowl in the air, but at least there won't be too many people around you. You can sprawl out and watch your 7th Super Bowl in 29 years. You go to one every 2.6 years, win one every 4 or 5 or so. Just adds another DVD to the collection where...
Another DVD to the collection, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's 2026 and we're talking about DVDs.
Every Super Bowl the Pats are in, we watch the Super Bowls in order, and then this year I have to watch 6 in order. The next time we're in, hopefully it's 7.
It won't be, and I hope that wherever you land in England serves milk in the airport because you're going to need it to coat your throat.
They probably
the
probably
milk,
call it something else.
The milk mile you'll be running when you return home from England. because Seattle is going to win this game. Jack, smell the roses. Enjoy it. You've earned it. You've dealt with 11 years of Yankees, Cowboys fan type behavior from Patriots fans saying, Malcolm Butler. 11 years you've dealt with these prehistoric, brain-dead Neanderthal
the former
takes.
Popeyes employee.
Prehistoric, brain-dead Neanderthal takes.
Western Alabama.
Somehow, Seattle didn't deserve to win that game. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, they're gone. They're dead. It's over. That era of Seahawks football is over. You have the best young head coach in the NFL. You have arguably the most talented, efficient roster possibly ever constructed by advanced metrics. And you have the fourth most salary cap in the NFL and the most of any playoff team. The future is bright. Not only do you get to bring home number 2, but you are in prime position to re-sign just about everybody and bring in major splashes in free agency. Shout out Max Crosby.
Actually, that's in the back page. He's coming to us for a first rounder.
Delusional. Trade for him, Seattle. We'll re-sign him. He'll be a stud in Seattle for years to come. Enjoy. Future's bright, but enjoy this one.
And that concludes the first episode of the Milk Route featuring the Milk Bowl. Barring a catastrophic Patriots collapse, we will be covering the offseason in the next episode. But if some miracle the Seahawks pull off this grand victory, we will be covering the Milk Mile about a quarter mile from this establishment.
The next episode will begin with the Milk Mile when the Seahawks win on Sunday. All I have to say is expect a year 3 regression from Drake May. Thanks.
Malcolm Butler.